our head trying to work out what Mr. Spencer's talking about. And yet a week earlier, the Minister for Agriculture, who was with him at the time scratching his head as well, said, well, we appreciate on Q&A, he said, we appreciate the farmers picked up most of the tap from Kyoto and it devalued the property values of their farms. Now, what did our Minister of Finance say? Oh, but we can't afford to pay them. Where would we get the money? So please. Now, I want to finish up now by just saying this. Excuse me, I'm littering the place. Now, I want to say this, and I want to do it very carefully because I want to share with you now the need that we all have to be aware of if we're going to take this any further. All of you have to be aware that you've got to go out and talk to people about this injustice. This is not a matter of, as they said to me in ABC this morning, oh, but you're concerned about the native veg. No, I'm not. You can take my farm, but you'll pay. You'll pay. You can make whatever law you want about taking the house and making it the town library, but you have to pay. To allow that not to be so, we're conducting affairs of state outside the rule of law. We are civilized beings. We haven't gone this far to revert to savagery. So don't feel that you can't make a stand. Now, I just mentioned to you what happened about Kyoto, and I wanted to say to you that all these documents and thousands more are out there. Now, we obtained all these documents with great effort without even having discovery. Matter of fact, in one other case matter, actually, we call it our Just Terms case, which is being heard again in about 4 days, we have obtained discovery. But they've asked us in our request for particulars, they've come back 5 times and tried to tell us the request for particulars is not correct. Now, what happens is this. They employ the top barristers. They're paying private barristers, by the way. It's not government anymore. We've outsmarted them. They put all their resources, and we've found documents that say this. We must not allow a precedent. Because you know what will happen. I'll tell you what will happen. One of the biggest claims in the Western world was Provokovich. Anybody know of that case? The Provokovich case in the United States? 376 million. Do you know what the claim is? Is if we win in court, between 50 and 60 billion. Whoa. The document we have here on the United Nations statement alone is 10.8 billion just for the initial carbon reduction on Kyoto. Plus there's all the damage and all the correction since. Now, it would be the biggest claim in the free world outside of wartime. Now, we are not, they're seriously trying to stop us, I can assure you. Very seriously. And yet, when our Minister for Finance, Tanner, says they can't afford it, then how come they can give billions of dollars to the polluters and not to the guys that do the mitigation? Where's the justice in that? Now, I want to finish up by saying this because I've taken up enough of your time. I want to say to you this. We intend to travel all over Australia telling people of the need to restore our democracy. Because these matters being eroded away from our liberties and rights are destroying the fundamental, very essential institutions that enable our democracy to stand up. Now, you might say, oh, we did notice the beer's still cold, the TV's still running, the roads are still working. The trouble is, the slow demise of a democracy is not always recognised by the common man. He wakes up in the morning and believes his liberties come up with the sun. My background in establishing in third world governance taught me a lot about how it didn't work there I didn't expect to go home and find it was falling apart here. But help me recognise those signals that are going off. Yeah. Now, some people might say I'm over-emphasising the concerns. We have to do a number of things. We have to get back into schools, not just green education, as I said yesterday, to our children where they go and plant a few trees and learn environmentalism. We have to get back the fundamental understanding and teaching in our schools about what makes a civilised society function. What are those institutions that are essential? So when you say to a 10-year-old kid, what about juries? Yes, 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 and not, we have to be able to understand what makes civilization function. We have to be able to get a change in morality of those who we elect to go back to Parliament or back to represent us at any level of government. We have to tell the guys that aren't prepared to accept this change, we don't want to vote for them. We're not going to vote for them. And we have to tell government when they go back in, they're going to have to be controlled as to what they can and can't do as far as putting their greedy hands on our liberties. Yeah. Now, let me tell you something. You in this room, probably 100 people. You talk to 10, there's 1,000. We have 12 months. I want to come back here in 6 or 7 months and talk to 1,000 people. Okay? I'm not going to stop. I've got nothing left. They've taken everything I own. And that doesn't bother me. I can now identify with more of those farmers that lost everything too. Even the farmers that have lost things and gone now because it happened 10 years ago because of this same activity. Tell them, don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. Because we have to fix Australia. If we sit down on our butts and don't grasp this problem firmly and fix it, it will not fix itself. And there's too many out there that are complacent. It isn't necessary. Or why should we bother? Let's make them bother, okay? Let's encourage them to bother. Let's say to them, this is important. Our country is really worth it. And I believe we can make a difference. Thank you.